The air inside the Combat Information Center of the USS John Finn was thick with tension, every sailor acutely aware that the next few moments could shape the course of history. On the radar screens, glowing symbols told a familiar story in these contested waters, one of constant vigilance and the ever-present risk of confrontation. The Arleigh Burke-class destroyer was sailing through the South China Sea, a region fraught with tension, determined to uphold international law and assert freedom of navigation. Suddenly, a cluster of Chinese warships appeared on the screens, their movements precise and coordinated, converging on the American vessel with unmistakable intent. The mood shifted instantly to high alert. This was no routine encounter, but a deliberate challenge to the ship's presence and mission. Captain Eva Rotova stood at the heart of the CIC, her posture steady, eyes fixed on the tactical displays as she assessed the rapidly evolving situation. The approaching ships were unmistakably People's Liberation Army Navy vessels, their hull numbers and silhouettes instantly recognizable to the trained eye. A Luoyang III-class destroyer led the group, flanked by two Jiangkai II-class frigates, their formation tight and purposeful as they closed the distance. The calm, measured voice of the tactical action officer cut through the hum of electronics, relaying critical information to the captain and crew. "Captain, lead contact is hailing us on Channel 16, warning us to alter course," the officer reported, tension underlying his professional tone. Rotova listened, her expression unreadable. She knew the claim was false. These were international waters, and the right to be here was not in question. The Chinese ships were now visible to the naked eye, gray shapes cutting through the blue water, their presence both a warning and a provocation. The crew went about their duties with professional calm, adrenaline pumping beneath the surface as they prepared for whatever might come next. The Chinese ships maneuvered with calculated precision, attempting to box in the American destroyer and limit its freedom of movement. It was a high-stakes game of naval chess, each move testing the resolve and discipline of the American crew as the world watched from afar. Captain Rotova knew the weight of her next decisions, aware that a single misstep could escalate the situation beyond control. Her orders would send a message heard worldwide, signaling not just intent, but the unwavering commitment of her crew and nation. The USS John Finn was more than a ship. It was a symbol of American resolve and the enduring promise to maintain a free and open Indo-Pacific, no matter the cost or the challenge ahead. Why does this stretch of water matter so much? It's a global superhighway for trade. Trillions of dollars in goods pass through these sea lanes every year. A significant portion of the world's commerce depends on these waters remaining open. The United States has a deep interest in the region, not about territory but principle. The principle of freedom of navigation. The U.S. Navy ensures international sea lanes remain open, underpinning global prosperity. China views the South China Sea as its own backyard, making sweeping historical claims. An international tribunal in 2016 rejected these claims, but China ignored the ruling. China has militarized artificial islands, projecting power and enforcing its claims. The USS John Finn sails into this clash of visions, a global commons versus a closed, state-controlled sea. The standoff is more than a military encounter. It's a contest over the future of the region. The outcome has consequences for international law, global trade, and the balance of power. The USS John Finn was conducting a freedom of navigation operation, challenging excessive maritime claims. According to UNCLOS, territorial seas extend only 12 nautical miles from the coast. The USS John Finn was sailing well outside any legitimate 12-mile limit. The U.S. Navy is not trying to provoke a conflict but to prevent one by upholding international law. If illegal claims go unchallenged, they could become accepted as fact, setting a dangerous precedent. The phone-op asserts that these waters belong to everyone. China's perspective is rooted in historical grievance and national destiny. Beijing dismisses the 2016 tribunal ruling as illegitimate. The Chinese warships act on orders from a government reclaiming its place in the world. This clash of worldviews makes these encounters dangerous. American sailors see themselves as guardians of international law. Chinese sailors see themselves as defenders of sovereignty. Captain Rotova navigated this complex geopolitical landscape without blinking or firing a shot. In the heart of the standoff, Captain Eva Rotova was the picture of calm. Her voice was steady, betraying no hint of pressure. She moved between the bridge and the CIC, absorbing information. Her leadership was the ship's anchor in uncertainty. "Maintain course and speed," she ordered, a declaration of resolve. The message to the Chinese warships was professional and direct. "We are a United States warship conducting routine operations in international waters." Rotova's training prepared her for this moment. She understood the human element, knowing her crew's strengths. Her presence was a calming influence, reminding everyone they were part of a team. Leadership is about building a culture of trust and competence. Captain Rotova's calm demeanor allowed the crew to focus on their tasks. She was the conductor of a complex orchestra, ensuring every instrument played its part. The standoff took a dangerous turn, escalating tensions between the two naval forces. The lead Chinese destroyer increased speed, cutting across the bow of the USS John Finn with alarming precision. This reckless maneuver blatantly violated international rules designed to prevent such collisions at sea. The Chinese ship came dangerously close, and for a moment, a collision seemed not just possible, but inevitable. On the bridge, the atmosphere was electric, charged with tension and anticipation. Captain Rotova was already in motion, knowing a decision had to be made in mere seconds to avert disaster. A collision would be catastrophic, potentially leading to loss of life and mission failure, but turning away would mean conceding the mission. Rotova found a third option, skillfully avoiding disaster without conceding defeat or compromising the mission. "All engines back 1/3, right 5 degrees rudder," she commanded with calm authority. The maneuver widened the gap between the ships, allowing the Chinese destroyer to pass safely without incident. It was a masterful display of seamanship, showcasing the crew's training and expertise. Rotova avoided the collision while maintaining her course, ensuring the mission continued as planned. The Chinese destroyer swept past and the moment of danger passed, leaving a tense calm in its wake. The incident highlighted the stark difference in professionalism and adherence to protocol between the two navies. The U.S. Navy operates under strict rules for safety, ensuring every action is measured and calculated. The Chinese captain's maneuver risked a major international incident, seemingly for political gain or posturing. Captain Rotova's response demonstrated the U.S. Navy's commitment to de-escalate responsibly, prioritizing safety and diplomacy. The tension extended to the skies above. FA-18 Super Hornets launched from a U.S. aircraft carrier provided air cover. China scrambled its own fighter jets, turning the sky into a potential combat zone. The jets engaged in a tense dance of positioning and signaling. American pilots followed strict rules of engagement, acting as a visible deterrent. The presence of jets complicated the picture for Chinese commanders. Control of the sea is linked to control of the air. The U.S. can project air power from carriers, a strategic advantage. For the USS John Finn, friendly jets overhead were a comforting sign. The duel in the skies remained non-violent but was crucial to the test of resolve. Beneath the waves, a U.S. Navy Virginia-class submarine shadowed the encounter. The submarine was the silent guardian, unknown to the Chinese warships. It gathered intelligence with sensitive sonar equipment. This acoustic data provided a massive information advantage. The submarine was also a potent weapon, armed with Tomahawk missiles and torpedoes. Its presence complicated the enemy's calculations. The role of the silent service provides a decisive edge. It ensures the surface commander makes better-informed decisions. The submarine crew operated with professionalism, unseen heroes of the day. The USS John Finn's success lay in superior technology, rigorous training, and professionalism. The ship, an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, is a technological marvel. Equipped with the Aegis combat system, it tracks and engages hundreds of targets. Technology alone isn't enough. Skilled operators are essential. Every sailor undergoes intensive training, building muscle memory for crises. Their calm response during the near collision was a result of relentless training. Professionalism is the commitment to a code of conduct under pressure. It was visible in Captain Rotova's calm command and precise communications. The U.S. Navy's goal is to maintain stability and uphold the law. These three pillars create a formidable capability. Building a navy is about developing skilled sailors and wise commanders. The crew of the USS John Finn demonstrated they had that edge. The American sailor remains the U.S. Navy's greatest strategic asset. As the tense hours ticked by, the standoff at sea showed no signs of easing. Both sides watched each other closely, every move calculated, every decision weighed with care. The USS John Finn held its course, unwavering and resolute, its crew maintaining discipline and focus in the face of uncertainty. The ship's presence was a clear signal of determination. The Chinese warships continued to shadow the destroyer, keeping a close distance but refraining from any further provocative or unsafe maneuvers. Tension hung in the salty air. The message was unmistakable. America would not be intimidated or forced to back down. The resolve of the crew was evident in every action. Overhead, the aerial ballet of Chinese jets came to an end, the aircraft banking away and returning to their base, signaling a de-escalation in the skies. Finally, after a prolonged and silent contest of wills, the lead Chinese destroyer altered its course, followed in turn by the accompanying frigates. The Chinese ships broke off their challenge and sailed away, leaving the USS John Finn to continue its mission unimpeded. On the bridge, a quiet sense of victory and relief settled over the crew. They had stood their ground and prevailed without firing a shot. The sailors knew they had faced a direct challenge to freedom of the seas, responding with strength, professionalism, and resolve under pressure. With the immediate threat gone, the USS John Finn resumed its planned route, mission accomplished and confidence restored among the crew. No shots were fired, no one was hurt, and peace was preserved through a show of strength and steadfastness, not aggression. The incident was a powerful demonstration of the U.S. commitment to upholding the rules-based international order and ensuring safe passage for all. Peace and stability on the world's oceans depend on a capable and vigilant naval force, ready to respond to any challenge. The crew of the USS John Finn proved they were up to the task, embodying the courage and professionalism expected of the U.S. Navy. Their actions ensured that a vital artery of global trade remained open and secure, protecting not just American interests, but the interests of nations around the world.